Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another interesting video on a versus topic by Intellipaat. So guys, today we're going to discuss about two of the popular framework and library, which is Angular and React.js. You all must be aware of its recognition in the current industry, right? But which one to choose, that is the question, isn't it? So in the spirit of helping you decide, we'll talk about the same, that is Angular versus React.js. So guys, before we proceed further, do subscribe to Intellipaat's YouTube channel so that you never miss out on any upcoming videos. So let's have a look at the agenda for this video. So guys, first and foremost, we'll discuss what exactly is Angular and what exactly is React.js. After that, the parameters based on which we'll differentiate between these two. Then the pros and cons of using both of these technologies. Then we'll understand which one is easy to learn, right? So followed by its popularity and the growth, the companies using both of these technologies, and then the mobile solutions for React and Angular, right? And after that, the testing, code and syntax in both of these technologies. Later on, we'll discuss the market trends and job vacancies in both of them. And finally, we'll wrap up the session by discussing which one is better to use here. We'll also have a short quiz based on the video. Make sure you put down your answers in the comment section below to know if you're correct or not, right? Also guys, if you're looking for the courses in trending technologies, then do visit intellipaat.com. Alright guys, so without any further ado, let's get started. So guys, as we discussed, we are going to have a glimpse over both of these technologies. First, what exactly is Angular? So guys, Angular is nothing but a TypeScript based open source web application front-end development framework, right? Since Angular was originally created by Google, so it is actively supported by Google and individual community of developers as well. It is a full-fledged MVC framework, or in other words, you can say it is a fully featured JavaScript framework which helps to develop dynamic web applications. In Angular, developers uses HTML as template language and HTML syntaxes for building the application's components, right? Now let us discuss about what exactly is React.js. React, which is also known as React.js or React.js, it is nothing but a JavaScript library which is used for building user interfaces or UI components and was developed by Facebook. And it is also actively supported by a community of individual developers and companies. In React, codes are comparatively very easy to understand and easy to launch as compared to Angular. Now, as we know about both Angular and React.js, let us see the comparison between two of them based on a few parameters. First, technology type. So, Angular is full-fledged MVC framework which is written in JavaScript, whereas React.js is nothing but a JavaScript library, right? And guys, second parameter is that AngularJS was developed by Google in 2010, and in 2016, Angular team created AngularJS 2, which was pure copy of AngularJS, and it was actually a completed new framework. So in order to avoid the confusion from previous version, the Angular team decided to remove JS from the original name, and since then, this new framework is known as Angular. And in case of React.js, it was developed by Facebook in 2013, and since then it has been used as it is. And of course, with some changes and updates made regularly. Now the third parameter that we have is language used. In Angular, TypeScript consisting JavaScript plus HTML is used, whereas React.js uses JavaScript plus JSX, where JSX is nothing but an XML or HTML-like syntax used by React, which extends ECMA script so that XML or HTML-like text can coexist with the JavaScript or React code, right? Now the fourth parameter that we have is debugging and testing. In Angular, the testing and debugging for a complete project is possible via a single tool. But in case of React.js, it requires a set of tools in order to perform different types of testings. Now the fifth parameter, which is data binding. In Angular, two-way data binding method is followed, so it helps us to ensure that model state automatically changes if any change is made. Whereas React allows one-way data binding, that means the user interface elements can't be changed without updating the corresponding model state. Sixth parameter is the version. So guys, the latest stable version in Angular is 7.2.0. Since React always keeps on updating and making changes, so the latest stable version in React is React 16.7.0. Now in our 7th point, Angular is ideal to use if you want to develop large-scale, rich-featured applications. Whereas in case of React, it is ideal to use for modern web development and native rendered apps for Android and iOS devices. Now moving on to our last parameter of this section, that is the learning curve, which can also be considered as difficulty of learning. So for beginners, learning Angular is not at all easy. A lot of training is required, whereas React is easy to grasp. How did I conclude this? That we'll discuss in this session as we move forward. Alright guys, so now let us discuss about the pros and cons of using both of these technologies. First and foremost, pros of using Angular. So guys, code written in this is comparatively cleaner and structured, right? It offers higher performance and error is handled in a better manner. It has material design like interface. Angular framework takes care of routing. That means if you want to move from one view to another, it will be easier. And in case of cons of using Angular, if you're a beginner, then Angular features can be difficult and confusing for you. And Angular sometimes becomes slow with pages embedding interactive elements. If you want to integrate Angular with third party, then it will be really difficult. And if you want to switch from older versions to the newer ones, then you may face several difficulties or issues, right? So moving forward to our next point, that is pros of using React.js as well as cons, right? First, discussing pros, it has better user experience, it is easy to launch and has faster development. If you're using React.js, then it will be a lot more time saver than Angular. It has code stability and one directional data binding. It also allows you to use third-party libraries, right? Now, let us discuss cons of using React.js. So if you want to integrate React in traditional MVC framework like Rail, then it needs complex configuration and setup. And the React users would be expected to have in-depth knowledge with respect to the integration of user interface into MVC framework. So guys, as we discussed previously, now let us understand the learning curve, or in other words, the difficulty level of learning Angular and React.js. So guys, learning curve or difficulty level of learning plays a very important role when it comes to choosing a new or a trending technology. So let me tell you, if you're a beginner and want to learn Angular, then it will need a lot of efforts as Angular is a full-fledged framework. So guys, if you're looking for making a project or an application, then certain things you need to learn. You need to go through TypeScript thoroughly with all the concepts clear, right? And MVC, Model View Controller Framework, you need to have a grasp over it, right? And other concepts like directives, modules, decorators, services, components, dependency, injection, pipe, templates, and a lot more, right? Another important thing is that it has very strict coding structure. But if you want to enter into Angular's world, then you have to learn a lot of many things, and the entry barrier is clearly higher in this compared to React.js. On the other side, React.js is just a JavaScript library, and so it has lesser concepts to learn in the comparison of Angular. You don't need to be a programming expert in order to learn React.js. It uses JavaScript XML, that is JSX, right? JSX is nothing but a way of writing HTML into JavaScript, as I discussed earlier, right? So you just need to know certain things to learn React. I'll name a few of them, that is the syntax of JSX, how to write the components, how to manage internal state, routing, props of configuration, state management using Redux, and so on. Code written in React.js are simpler and easy to understand. You don't have to learn any loops or new logical structures in it, as it's a plain JavaScript. Another important difference is React provides flexibility and options to the developers to do the same task in different manner. But it definitely does not mean that React is better than Angular, right? Now moving on to another factor, which is popularity and growth of Angular versus React.js. So guys, before you go to the libraries or frameworks to use, it is really important to have a look at its popularity and growth. Popularity of a technology is directly proportional to the job opportunities, isn't it? Simply put, in most of the cases for more popular or trending technology, you can find more job demands. For better understanding, let us have a look at this data on our screen. So guys, if you observe here, you can see the significance difference. React obviously has more than double the amount of GitHub contributors and stars as compared to Angular. Another important factor you should consider is what Google Trends search hit says that about the popularity of these two as per the downloads and the visitors. Currently, React has around 10,000 more downloads than Angular. So according to the above metrics, it is crystal clear that React is more popular than Angular, right? Now, as we proceed forward, let us see where these technologies are used or the companies using them. So high-scale companies are using both React and Angular. I'll list down some of the biggest brands and companies in the world that are using them. For Angular, Google, Nike, Sony, Forbes, General Motors, Upworks, HBO, and the list goes on, right? In the case of React, you can see that Facebook, Airbnb, Instagram, WhatsApp, Netflix, Dropbox, Uber, again, the list goes on. You must have observed by now that working in these two technologies is not at all a cup of tea, right? So now we have the mobile solutions offered by both Angular and React.js. So guys, both Angular and React can be used for creating mobile applications, and in order to develop the hybrid mobile applications in Angular, Ionic framework is used, and Ionic uses a code Java container which is incorporated with Angular. Ionic provides a robust UI component library that is easy to set up and develop the hybrid mobile applications. Hence, if you see the created applications on any gadget, it seems like a web app inside a local web application holder, right? So the apps can be quite slower. In React.js, React Native platform is used for creating native mobile applications. Syntax used in React Native is slightly different from Ionic syntax. React Native produces a local user interface which allows its developers to make their own paths or components and tie them to the local code, which can be written in Kotlin, Java or Swift, etc. As we move further, let us discuss about the next factor, which is testing tools and their usage in Angular and React.js. Right, guys? So in Angular, Jasmine and Karma, etc. are the testing framework which can be used. And in Angular IO, a single tool can be used for testing and debugging the complete project. Hence, the output is very difficult to read in such scenarios. Whereas Facebook uses Jest tool to test its React code, right? One additional benefit to use this tool is it does not require any configuration to use and it is included in every React project. Jest also contains powerful mocking library. Most of the time, Jest is used in combination with Enzyme, which is a JavaScript testing utility, also used in Airbnb. So in React.js, set of tools are used for performing different set of testing. Now let's move forward and discuss about their code style and syntax. In React, code is written using JSX plus JavaScript. In most cases, JSX just looks like the HTML. Let's have a look at the code from testing program.jsx where we are returning div, right? And it is a simple hello world program. Note that React has some different kinds of components, but here we have started with React.component subclasses or child class. So guys, that's how our React code looks like. Looks easy, right? So now in Angular, you can write a hello world program like you can see that testing program.js file, right? So guys, as you observe here, the code to write a simple hello world is little complex than our React's code, right? In case of Angular, isn't it? So syntax of Angular is quite lengthy as compared to React.js, isn't it? Now, as we have discussed about their difficulty levels, let us move forward and check their market trends and the job vacancies. According to Indeed, full-time job vacancies for profile for Angular developers goes around 12,793 and salary estimated is around $85K to $125K per annum based on their experiences. Whereas job vacancies for full-time React developer goes around 14,641 and salary estimate is around $85K to $125K again per annum, right? And again, based on their experience levels. So as we have discussed all the factors, now let me wrap up this session for you with a small quiz and a small discussion on which one is better to use. Well guys, it depends completely on your project level requirements and what you are aiming for. See, every library and framework has its own benefits and challenges, and Angular and React are not different here. But if you have watched complete video, then you can roughly conclude that if you are new to programming world or have less coding experience but still you want a stable project, then you should definitely go with React. Since it is easy to learn and popularity is more, so its market demand is a lot higher than Angular. React.js can be used for developing single-page web applications. Whereas in every 6 or 7 months of duration, you will see the major upgrades for Angular. Hence, it may be quite challenging if you are choosing Angular. But another fact is, if you're looking for a full-fledged framework to build a large-scale project and you love to follow straightforward coding strategy, then without having any second thought, you can go with Angular. Whereas in every 6 or 7 months of duration, you will see the major upgrades for Angular. Hence, it may be quite challenging if you are choosing Angular. But another fact is that if you are looking for a full-fledged framework to build a large-scale project and you love to follow straightforward coding strategy, then without having any second thought, you can go with Angular, right? So now guys, I have a question for you. What exactly do you mean by React.js? Option 1, user interface framework. Option 2, library for building interactive interfaces. Option 3, it is a server-side framework. You can put down your answers in the comment section below to know if you're correct. So guys, I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any further queries, do let us know in the comment section below. We will reach out to you immediately. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video and giving us your precious time. See you again.